今世紀最高峰のヴァンガードデジタルカードゲームがここに
Are you sure about that?
Okay, so Dear Days 2. Cardfight Vanguard Dear Days 2 has been confirmed on sale on 30 January 2025, and as someone who owns original Dear Days, I have a few comments on it. But before that, I want to talk about the good and the bad of buying Dear Days first, because I feel it heavily depends on your situation whether it is worth it to buy or not. But I will still leave my thoughts on it at the end of this video, so this video won't be as heavily edited compared to other video I normally do. This is just me talk about what we know so far and talk about the good point, the bad point, and my thoughts about it in general. So let's go through the good point first, because there is some obvious good point, and that is the fact that it is a much bigger card base. I mean, the original only have up to like what, DBT05? Now we have essentially roughly 20 booster more, minus the collab obviously, but overall it is a huge roster increment compared to the original, where they have been topping up with way too many DLCs over time. And I would say, if you're a group of people that unfortunately are not able to find your friends, or your local doesn't really stock too much Vanguard stuff, this is a good game for you, because I feel one of the biggest draw of Dear Day is that if you are a Vanguard fan but you do not have a strong Vanguard access in your locals, this is one of the few ways for you to actually be able to play Vanguard online and actually just play Vanguard in general, because I have to admit, Dear Days does remove a lot of annoying interaction that you have to do when you play through the free but not official sanctioned simulator like CFA or Vank Pro like that, and which leads to a good third point, and that is the fact that you don't really have to deal as much when it comes to toxicity.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I feel this is depend on case by case, but I feel CFA or Vank Pro, regardless of which simulator you play, over time you have to deal with some players who are being unsavory. That's the most polite I can put it for some of them, cause like holy shit, is some people are just doesn't know what manner is.
No, he's got a point.
So if you are type of people who really cannot handle that level of toxicity some CFA or Vank Pro can get, this is a good place to use to go for, because like you don't really have to deal with heavy as much. The only thing that you mostly have to deal is maybe something like, oh, the opponent make a snarky comment at the end, or opponent use a toxic deck.
That doesn't sound so bad.
And that is what Dear Days actually bring it for you. But, and this is a big but, because in my honest opinion, this is a literal spit in the face for many of the people who have bought the original Dear Days.
That escalated quickly.
Yes, the card pool has increased, but that also means that whatever you have paid for DLC in the past is available for a brand new customers who buy the Dear Days 2 for the cost of one AAA title games, which not everyone has that level of money to purchase it, especially if you're considering the global economy as of today. Like, buying a AAA title to play a simulator is not exactly a good idea. And I mean they could have gone Master Duel route, but for some reason they decided not to do, though I can kind of understand why. I'll come back to the reason later, but we have to talk about one more bad aspect of this: DLCs.
Of course!
DLC was notoriously known among the Vanguard player to be one of, if not the most expensive DLC for what you get, cause you're paying roughly half a booster box price for an access, not a full, not an access to all the cards, just an access for a gacha for that booster alone, and maybe some PRs. It provided you buy maybe like a bit more deluxe pass or something like that. I mean, I already said earlier, but that spit in the face even harder for the original Dear Days player, because you have to do all this all over again. It's just not a good sign. So Dear Days 2 definitely has a lot of mark on it because of how bad of a product Dear Days actually was. So what do I think on this? I'll say this lah. As someone who does work to an extent in the industry of game development, I'm not working in like an actual game release game or something like that, but at least I understand the flows and the timeline of it. It is not easy to develop. I mean, like, having a live service game is not exactly a really good business plan, especially considering what Bushiroad normally do for their business plan in general. And not only that, making a new asset for 100 cards for every DLC sounds not a lot, but if you think of it, you have to make sure that each of the behavior has been done right, each of the asset has been included properly, and for those cards that does have like additional different style of gameplay, like for example Impaudio or Lio Odium or something like that, they have to make sure that all these cards are being implemented properly. It is not exactly an easy thing to do, and the only way you can do it in a most consistent way is to hire more people to do it. So most likely the reason why the DLC charge so high is purely because they are trying to make sure that this group of people are being paid properly.
I certainly hope that that's the case.
The point is that it's a lot of work, but it doesn't excuse them for the product plan that they have done. It is an insulting product for those who have bought the game before, the original version. And I'll put it this way, I'm willing to buy it again if they manage to fulfill 3 particular goals. And these 3 has to be fulfilled all at once for me to actually bother to invest in Dear Days 2. The first one, and this pertains to the Switch player only, like those who want to buy a physical copy, the promos. They better be good, because we roughly had some suspicion that one of the cards will most likely be Grand Grace update, considering Yuki is back for Dear Days 2. And I mean, if the other 2 cards are something that is actually really worth for me to invest in, I most likely will go for it. But there's still other 2 points I have to talk about, and I think these are the very important one. The first one, save file transferability. If they can transfer the Dear Days 1 file to Dear Days 2, that would be a godsend, because Dear Days are a very grindy game. It's essentially Master Duel with an extra price tag on it. So if you can at least transfer whatever cards database you have to a new game and they got updated with it, that would be a godsend. Like seriously, I think a lot of Dear Days player might move to Dear Days 2 if their save file has been transferred properly, which leads nicely into my third demand, DLCs. As we all know, a lot of Dear Days 1 player has bought many DLCs, and I hope if the save data is transferable, I hope they are able to exempt at least a few DLC patches for the Dear Days 1 player to Dear Days 2. So like for example, if you buy 3 DLCs, maybe you are able to get next 3 pass, the DLC pass, for free, and maybe afterwards you have to pay more in case you want it. And the same goes for those who bought everything.
You serious?
Like essentially make it such that the only thing that need to be updated in your game drive is the new game itself. You don't have to rebuy the DLC. That would be ideal, but let's be real. It's Bushiroad, it's company. I'm not expecting much.
It's unfortunate.
So yeah, these 3 points, if they are able to fulfill these 3 demands, I most likely will buy it. But otherwise, I won't buy it. But that's my thoughts about it. I apologize if like the thoughts process is very all over the place, because this is done in one take. And yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think on the Dear Days 2 in general. Are you going to buy it purely because of the problem that you have with accessibility? Just leave in the comments below. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Take care of yourself, and yeah, I'm not gonna promote too much on this video lah. So take care of yourself, and see you guys next video. じゃあね。